Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Anthony Godaire. He's a life and career coach, and we'll be talking to him about how one can create positive change and growth in their life. Welcome to the show, Anthony.
Thanks, AJ. Appreciate you having me.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people will benefit from what we'll be talking about. As I said, we'll talk about creating positive change and growth in life. But first, to understand, Anthony, for the audience, I've obviously told them that you are a life and career coach, but I want you to tell them who exactly is Anthony Godaire so that they can understand directly from you, about your journey, who exactly you are beyond being a life and career coach.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that, AJ. So, again, Anthony Godaire, AG, if it's easier. I am a life coach that specializes more so in the mental health and even executive coaching realm. Executive coaching with my experience in the 9 to 5 that I've been working over the past couple decades, and the mental health side of things. Specifically depression, something that I've been self-managing throughout my entire life. And really my goal getting into something like this, into coaching, development, supporting individuals, is really to help them through their mental health journey so that they don't have to go through it alone like I did when I was growing up.
Right, right. Now you talk about, your life purpose, as you say, is create positive change and growth in people's life. Uh, how did you come to this particular? There was a time where you were not very positive about life itself, and that was not very long ago. So I want to understand about that journey. When you are talking positive now, why was it that at that point in time you were not that positive? What is it that made you positive, motivated you enough to look towards life in a much more positive manner, much more hopeful manner, so that people who are in a difficult positions in their life, they can understand about it and gain inspiration that okay, there is a way out of all difficult situations.
Yeah, I had a very large victim mentality, AJ. I had every reason to be happy, every privilege that I could have hoped for growing up, and I found a way to find the negative in a lot of things. Admittedly, so much so that back in 2008, I actually had my own brush up with a suicide experience. So that was something that thankfully I came through. That was one of my lower points for sure, but it was certainly a roller coaster throughout most of my life. It was only over the last kind of couple years that I sort of stumbled into this and got myself into a place to where I feel like not only am I in a healthy space to self-manage myself, but in a space to help others to manage that as well. And I feel like the trials and tribulations of that victim mentality, the suicide attempt in 2008, and sort of the finger pointing and the oh, woe is me, why me, and this just mindset of what is it that's just not working for me, as opposed to making it work for me. What can I control? What do I need to do differently to maximize what it is, this life that's been given to me? The mental shift. And I think I have several tools that I utilize in my coaching to make sure that there's accountability that comes in with that, because it's a lot of mirror work. And what I mean by mirror work is you got to stop pointing the finger. You got to stop thinking that life is happening to you. And you have to start kind of taking control of those things that are within your influence. And that was really the small shift for me that started down a whole line of things that's made me revisit just about every aspect of my life and what I could control versus what was happening to me.
Right, right, Anthony. So I want to understand for the audience is that why was it that you were seeing negativity, and then how did you move towards seeing it positively? A lot of people tend to see always a lot, glass half empty, whereas a lot of people, even if they have a quarter glass, then they will think it is full. Why is it so with some people? God made them all in the same way. But happens in the mind, what happens in our lives, what happens at some point in our life that we start seeing life in a very, a very, very narrow manner. Help us about this negativity part, because that's a very important aspect of our life. That is where I guess a lot of things start and end.
For sure. I think everyone kind of gets caught up in what your disadvantages in life are. And everyone has advantages and disadvantages, whether they acknowledge them or not. And I just got caught up too much in my disadvantages. And one of my big ones that I still wrestle with today is my mental health. I suffer from depression. I've gone on and off medication, very, very much a roller coaster ride for those that have been in my life for the 30 plus years that I've been on this earth. It's been a very rocky road, but I think what helped me to stabilize that is continuously looking in the mirror and identifying what are my controllables and what it is that I can do to help influence that. I'll give you an example here. So one of the things that I have is referred to as just a standard energy assessment. And this isn't any groundbreaking work. Maybe some of your listeners have already heard of kind of what this is, but the idea of an energy assessment is identifying, okay, here's where I am now. I'm lethargic. I've got low motivation. I can't seem to want to do anything. I suffer from depression or anxiety. There's these hurdles that are just barriers from me being productive in my growth, in my career, in my relationships, whatever the case is. I just have these blocks that seem to either slow me down or completely put me to a halt to where I just completely stop. And that mental shift that says, well, what can control from this? I recognize that I have a mental health condition. I recognize that I may not necessarily have a chemical balance within me that AJ might have. That doesn't mean that I just throw my hands up and give up. That doesn't mean that I get to just step back from my life and let it happen to me. I have to shift my mindset that says, okay, here's what I am willing to do for this. So in my energy assessment, it's really just a very simple writing out your pros and cons, your plus and your delta, what pulls energy from you, what takes energy from you, and what motivates you, what pushes you forward. And what I found in an energy assessment like that, when you put it on paper, when you have a visual to it, not just talking to yourself, because you can have a tendency to kind of get lost up in your words. There's a lot of stuff that goes on up here. Put it down on paper, get a visual to it, and you might notice one side is a lot more information than the other. In my case, it happened to be what was taking energy from me. And I noticed that this was very repetitive. This is almost like my daily routine that I was putting on paper. And they were all things that were taking energy from me. So it allowed me to identify all these different things that were taking energy from me and what could be giving me energy that I wasn't really putting enough time and effort into. And I think there's also a misconception that says, well, I don't have the energy today, or I don't have the motivation today. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait until that energy arrives. And that's one way to go about it. But I would say that when you're able to put on paper and when you're able to identify, going on podcasts and talking about something that you're passionate about gives me energy, and blasting some music that I love gives me energy, or spending time with my family gives me energy. Whatever the case is, as you go through your list on there, these are things that you can do to pull yourself up when you don't have that energy, because you can create that. That's the misconception. I don't have the energy today. I don't have the motivation today. And a lot of the approaches that you hear are, well, just suck it up. Just do it. Just power through it, right? Just don't think about it. Just go. And as effective as that can be, for other individuals, it's just not the recipe for success for them. So I like to challenge it by saying, here are some things that you can do to create energy for yourself, rather than just power through, rather than try to turn your feelings and your emotions off. Come to grips with them, put them in a visual in front of you so that you can actually see what's helping you and what's holding you back. Put more effort and time into what is helping you forward. And that is something that for me was a really big shift in my mindset that would allow me to manage my mental health and my depression without the use of medication.
Absolutely, absolutely. In your case, how did you seek help? Was it your own realization that there is a lot of things that needs to be done in life, so you wanted to hold that decision forever?
Yeah.
What is it, or is it that someone else motivated you, came into your life and motivated you?
Yeah, when you're sitting in your apartment and you're choosing whether to pay your electric bill or to eat that week, you're forced into mirror work. And my hope getting into coaching is that they don't have to do that. That you don't have to go through something like that. Or if you have, you can leverage a life coach like myself to be able to pull yourself out of that, to hold you accountable, to give you that energy, to give you that motivation, give you those resources and those tools to be able to be self-sufficient and pull yourself out of it. I think it's good to have mentors and it's good to have people in your corner that will help you out. You know, if you're the CEO of your own life, you want to have sort of a board of advisors. You want to have individuals that will help you to make decisions that will help you in your life, whether that's in your career, in your relationships, or maybe even removing toxic people from your life, whatever the case is. That is very helpful. But until you can have that conversation with yourself one-on-one, it doesn't necessarily matter what your board of directors is going to be in. It doesn't matter what they're going to be saying and doing, because you're always going to be following someone else's direction. And that's where I ran into issue, is that sure, I got into my 9 to 5 and I was successful there, but I was really following someone else's idea of success. I hadn't defined my own level of success. So you start getting even deeper into depression because you're like, well, okay, I have the salary I want, or I have the house that I want, I have the relationship that I want. I'm still not happy though, and I have no idea why. Well, maybe it's because you're living someone else's definition of success and not your own.
Absolutely, absolutely. You talked well about we are the CEOs of our life. So if we are the CEOs of our life, then who is this board of directors? Why are we so scared of this board of directors? And what, whether we should pay heed to them, it at all or not?
Yeah, there's an assumption that they have it all. They have it all figured out. They already know the answer. They have the perfect solution. They have this secret recipe for success. And as long as I just follow this recipe to the T, I have all my ingredients and I have all the measurements and all that kind of stuff. As long as I do this, this is what will make me happy. I would challenge that, because again, you're still living someone else's success recipe. I think that that is one of the great secrets of life, is that nobody has it figured out. No matter how successful they are, no matter how much money they have, no matter what home they are, what relationship they're in, whatever lifestyle they have, nobody has it figured out. They have it figured out for themselves as an individual as they move through life and gain experience. But no one can give you that experience. They can only give you a suggestion and a perspective based off of where their life's trajectory took them. And you can only hope that you can take some of that information, tweak it, and tailor it so that it's usable for you. And then you can create your own formula based off of that.
Absolutely, absolutely, Anthony. You talk about rediscovery and empowerment. How does that happen? What is your take on these two words? How should one look at this? These are very important things. These are all the ingredients of life. Help us understand these two things. How can one do when you are trying to just starting your life, say 20, 21 years of age?
Yeah, I'll key in on the word empowerment on there. As a coach, my goal is not to let's say you hire me on. My goal is not for me to coach you for the remainder of your life. My goal is to help you gain clarity and confidence, come up with your success formula, give you the tools to get there, and then you can offboard for me and you're self-sufficient from there. That's all it is. I want to get you a running start. I want to give you what you need to even get moving. For some of those individuals that may not be moving, or are moving what they feel is either a slow pace or maybe even moving backwards potentially, depending on where you are in life. But the goal is not to necessarily, board of directors, board of advisors, whatever verbiage you want to use for it, for the entirety of their life. And I think that when we get into the terminology of, well, loyalty, right? You want to be loyal to these individuals and you want to make sure that you're treating them with a certain amount of respect. I think to be an effective coach, my feelings and everything like that needs to be completely taken out of it. If I'm coaching AJ, I have to be 100% in AJ's success. I have to be 100% focused on what is helpful for you and take myself out of the equation. My job is to prioritize you, because there's a lot of people out there, myself included in my journey. I didn't know how to prioritize myself. And even if I did know, there would be a lot of guilt. There'd be these feelings of, well, I have to owe somebody else, and how selfish of me to just think of me and my own success and what I need. Like, I have to make sure that I'm always exchanging value at all times. And that's really why I got into coaching, is to be that for somebody else that says, I can unconditionally be there for you and for your success. It's not an exchange of value. It's all about prioritizing you, getting you to where you need to be, and making you self-sufficient so that you can move on from me and you can pull somebody else in to be on your board of advisors when you get to your next level.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are, as I said, a life and career coach. So, certified life coach, in fact, and career coach. So, what is it that your clients, generally people come to you for, and what are the? I want to understand the trends that people have are facing in terms of their issues, and coming to you.
Yeah, on the professional side, it's all around career growth. I don't know how to get promoted, or I don't know how to navigate 9 to 5. And even for the higher level ones, it's, well, I don't know how to get out of my standard 9 to 5 and get into my dream job. That's the professional side of things. On the personal side of things, it's what we've been talking about throughout the majority of this conversation, where we're talking about the empowerment. We're talking about really defining your life's success. Get that confidence and get that clarity to define something for yourself, 100% for you. Yes, you're using some of the ingredients from some of the mentors that you've worked with, or some of the other podcasts you've listened to, or some of the other YouTube videos that you've been watching about all these different, secret sauces that are out there that will make you happy. Yes, take all of that in, but then I can help you to tweak that, make it your own, and make it unique for you so that you can create your own fulfillment and your own success from there.
Right, right. So, in a nutshell, if you were to give general advice to people looking at life, what are the few things that they should always keep at the back of their mind, so that in their day-to-day life, so that neither negativity sets in, they always look themselves in a positive way, that there is so much to rediscover in their life, discover in their life, and move forward with a lot of hope and empowerment.
Yeah, I think, again, going to the empowerment side of things, it's going to be focused on your controllables. You've got your controllables, what you can influence, and then what you have no control over whatsoever. If you're focusing on what you can't control, you're going to be very frustrated a lot of the times. And you're going to get into a lot of the spinning wheel scenario. You're not going to have a lot of productivity there. On the influence side of things, there's only so much productivity you can have there, because, again, you can't control it. You can influence it to the best of your ability, regardless of how well you articulate yourself or how strong your case or your point is. But realistically, if you can hyper focus all on what you can control what you do with your 168 hours per week. You can control how much time that you use of that to self, and do your energy assessments, do a life wheel exercise to identify what it is in your life that's important, where you would grade that, and how well balanced your life might look, and where you might need some help. Be willing to self-invest. Be willing to invest in yourself in a way that says, I'm going to hire a coach, or I'm going to get into our mentorship program, or I'm going to surround myself with like-minded individuals, not because they have the same perspective of me, but they have the same goal in mind of developing oneself and finding whatever that success looks like. Be willing to prioritize what you can control and yourself.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, those people who would want to know more about you, learn more from you, and also engage with you as their client, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, reach out to me on my website. It's the superlativeyou.com. The idea of being superlative is reaching your highest potential. Your only competition is who you were that previous day, and understanding that everything that we do is hyper focused into you, tailoring for your success and getting you to be self sufficient so that you can move on and get somebody else on your board of advisor that will help you to reach your next level, whatever that looks like. The superlativeview.com is where you can reach me.
Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you.